If it isn't the Rage Select podcast, my old nemesis, you got a lot of nerve showing your face around here. The Rage Select podcast here on Rage Select with me, Jeff.
Amanda.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's a podcast time. It's time for podcasts.
Yeah.
So
it might be your nemesis.
Yeah.
Podcast is my dear old friend.
Oh, well, there you go. There you go. So it kind of just evens out at the end. We're at a 5.
The enemy of my enemy.
That's right. Wait, are you in the podcast plotting behind my back? You're going to take over Rage Select?
100%.
Yeah, I think
I'm in the YouTube comments just like...
Oh, man.
It's always me.
Oh, no.
Always watching.
It turns out that all the comments on Rage Select are just Amanda's sock puppet accounts. Just a whole
100%.
army of sock puppets.
Yeah, all the accounts are like, wow, this is a really mean YouTube comment. Who wrote it? Definitely not Amanda 24. Huh. All right.
Well, we've got an interesting podcast this week. It's a real grab bag. I think the biggest thing that happened this week in gaming is that there was like the Q3 earnings calls came in, and so there's a bunch of stuff that happened because of that.
Yeah.
But before we get to that, last week I made a promise on this podcast.
Yes.
I talked a lot about Dune, and I said that next week I was going to talk about pirate instruments and my acquisition of pirate instruments. So I bought a concertina.
Yay! Play it for everyone.
I've been playing it a lot. It's interesting because I was sitting around during the pandemic. I've been thinking about this for a long time, and I was just like, I really want to do something creative. I want to just branch out and do something different. It's been a long time since I played any music. What instrument should I play?
A guitar? No, everyone does guitar. Piano? That's too cumbersome.
Right.
A flute? What am I, crazy?
Well, you kind of there. Like the guitar, I hate playing the guitar. Like I've tried to play the guitar, and they're just like, you've got to like they say you have to build up your calluses. What they mean is like you have to play this so hard that it hurts until it stops hurting. And I'm just like, I don't drink whiskey for the same reason. So like, plus, I looked online and I was like, I'm in Austin. I'm a hipster. I'm a straight white dude. Like, what kind of bullshit hipster?
So what I did was I bought myself a scarf and
one of those really big ones with all the fringe on it. I thought about buying a keyboard for a little while because, like, I don't know, playing the piano, that seems like a skill that would be nice.
It's a good base. If you learn how to play music on the piano, you can translate it really well to a lot of different instruments. This is, I went from piano to the bass, and it was easy, not because they're similar in that sense, but like it makes you more comfortable with like reading music and everything. So at the end of the day, I looked at concertinas a bunch when I was drunk. And for anybody, I mean, I feel like there's people out there who might. The concertina is like that version of the accordion that pirates have. It's like a little hexagon, and it's got buttons on the sides, little stop signs.
So I got it. I brought it home. I didn't really know where to start, so I just started like dicking around with it and learned how to play Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. That was really boring.
You showed me.
Now I can play. Like what do you do with a drunken sailor?
Nice. I was waiting for you to learn that one.
I bought a book that's just nothing but pirate tunes for the concertina.
Nice.
I'm starting to learn how to read sheet music, but I found this website that just has notes to music, and so like I was just trying to learn the notes and the fingering, but there's like transcribed notes from songs, so I can now also play All Star by Smash Mouth.
Oh my god.
Why Don't You Get a Job by The Offspring and Never Gonna Give You Up by Rick Astley on my concertina.
You can rickroll people with your concertina.
I literally can't. I can think of no more hipster sentence than what was just said there.
Fairly hipster. That's
And if you need any clearer indications that I am a 40-year-old filthy hipster, concertinas are kind of expensive. They're like $400, and I found out that some instruments on Amazon you can literally buy them and then pay them off in installments, and it just auto drafts like the $50 a month out of your account. So I was like, I'm gonna do that because I want this now because I have no impulse control because question marks. But how am I going to balance my budget for my pirate instrument?
Yeah, you're expensive yet worth it concertina.
Yeah, so I canceled my subscription to boxes of Japanese snacks, which was $50 a month, in order to pay for my pirate instrument.
You know what? I approve. I support this.
I liked my Japanese snacks, but I needed more money to pay for my pirate instrument.
Right, but eventually the pirate instrument will be paid off, and then you go back to snacking.
Yeah, and I could take it out on the corner with a cup and play Rickroll. I can Rickroll people.
Make more money.
Yeah. This is where Rage Select is going.
You'd be stupid not to do it. Really. Please replace all music, like the intro sounds and everything, with the concertina.
Oh, yeah.
100%.
Oh, my God.
Just everything changes. The Rage Select's going with the pirate theme from now on.
That's right. Well, at least now when the apocalypse happens, I'll have a skill that the Road Warriors can keep me around for.
Yeah.
Because I can just play a bunch of pirate tunes.
Oh, my God. Now I just have the fucking guitar guy in Mad Max.
Yeah.
But it's just
me. Just Jeff with no eyeballs hanging with his underwear, playing pirate music. Immortan Joe is not amused at this, but
that is fucking.
After Max axed that dude, we couldn't find anybody else except for this one guy who's wandering around.
Could anyone with Photoshop skills go ahead and make that one happen? Because 10 out of 10. I gotta make Puppet Jeff a little concertina.
Yeah, it's just I want to play my concertina out on the street. People can scream mediocre at me, and I can like spray chocolate in my mouth, like shiny and sweet. Got a whole other
like
thing.
Willy Wonka's fucking.
Well, I don't want to spray paint. I don't want to put spray paint in my mouth. Those guys are gross.
They have silver edible spray, like a silver paint.
Oh shit! There we go. People are going to be really confused next year when Halloween comes around and I'm playing as the... Not the Doof Warrior, I'm the Doofy Warrior.
Yeah, 100% 10 out of 10. This is the greatest opening to a podcast I've ever heard.
No, it's a really easy instrument to learn. The only problem is that it's a different, like Anglo concertina, which is what I got, has fewer buttons, which I thought would be easier. Mm-hmm. But it turns out that Anglo concertina is harder because it has a different note depending on whether you're pushing or pulling. Mm-hmm. And then actually I found out, because I knew nothing about music, that there's a bunch of sharp and flat notes that just do not exist on an Anglo concertina, which is why you have a third row of buttons that are a bunch of sharp and flats on more expensive ones, which I didn't buy because I was like, eh. But
yeah, you're like, I'm splurging, but I'm not like splurging.
Yeah.
Especially an instrument that you've never played before.
Yeah. And I was a drummer, so I've never even played like notes before. I'm trying to learn how to.
I'd love to see like tablature for drums.
Oh, yeah.
It's funny.
Yeah. It's on a.
It's just like boom boom bop bop boom boom. Oh, got a little boom boom bop bop going on.
Actually, I can read sheet music for drummers because it's like the normal note thing, except at the top they just put like X's on the top line, and that's where the hi-hat is, and then like the bass is the one at the bottom, and the snare is in the middle, and like toms are above that. But so
it's like the wingdings of music notes.
Exactly. So when I haven't been doing other stuff, I've been it's funny because I haven't had a thing in a long time. It's not video games or like watching Netflix, where I'm just like, what do I want to do? And I'm like, I want to dick around my concertina, and then I look up and it's been like an hour, and I'm just like, oh shit, I could play White Christmas now.
Nice.
Cool. I can't play any of it at speed, so I can't like.
Yeah, you're still doing the. Get yourself an app, I guess. I was gonna say get yourself a metronome, but you don't. I mean, we live in the 21st century. So.
Actually, I mean, if I'm gonna be playing pirate instruments, I might as well buy one of those little things.
Click. Yeah, I love metronomes. I lived off of those when I was learning bass, because you gotta keep in tempo.
To keep time.
And piano, because piano instructors are real dicks about that sort of thing.
Okay.
So like, yeah, the clicking is helpful.
I'm still the other thing is that it's like you've got the note component, and then because you got two hands and you've got 6 buttons on each row, 2 rows on each side, and then you also have to deal with the in out. Like there's some of these where it's like by the time you get done playing, like you've been pulling the entire time, and so you've just got the thing like fully extended.
Yeah.
And I actually bought an actual physical book of like how to play concertina, and then they're like, you need to like learn to push the release button like when you're playing certain notes to like scrunch in a little bit.
Yeah, so you get a little more.
So, but I don't know.
That's interesting.
I'm gonna keep on up with that.
Keep on keeping on.
Yeah. I don't know that I would recommend it to anybody. I mean, it would be like, you know, like we had that conversation last week of like if you buy like a hurdy-gurdy or like a what's a little one that you blow into and it's got the notes on the side, a melodica or something.
Oh yeah, like an ocarina
or a theremin. Like this is like
who's.
I've decided I want to play a weird.
You deserve everything you get. That's all I'm saying. Now, having said that, I have an automaton, so like, what do I know?
Yeah, so that's what I've been doing for the last week. Amanda, what have you been up to?
No, I've been working mostly.
Okay.
10-hour shifts, you don't really get a lot done. I've been slowly reading Jason's latest book.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's very
Necromancer's
good.
on Drugs.
Yeah, it's good.
a real, it gets going with a bang.
I know. I love his characters. I think they're great. Like, I want it to be a TV series with all my heart because I want interactions with those characters.
Okay.
And reading it is great, but like seeing it would be
It feels like it might be better as a back and forth on a screen sometimes. Yeah.
It feels it just sets itself up perfectly. Like in my head it's like, oh, this is a TV, like not even a movie, though that would be cool, but like this is a TV show. Like when I read the first one, I was like, I could see this being an episodic thing that I just watch for a long period of time.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really good. I've been enjoying that a lot. And then Halloween happened, so we did some Halloween movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, we watched Sunshine. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah.
Like
who's the guy? Oh, it was Danny Boyle. Yeah,
I think so. Yeah, the Chris Evans, Cillian Murphy. I think is it. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. We hadn't seen it in a long time, and John and I were talking about the plot, and we both were like, John went, Cillian Murphy is the bad guy, and I went, no, he's the main character. Chris Evans is the bad guy. Neither one of them.
I was remembering. I was like, I don't think either one of those are the correct answers.
Yeah, we were both like totally wrong, but it was very funny because we were like, we remembered all these plots and we hadn't seen the movie. Both of us hadn't seen the movie in a very, very long time, obviously. And then when we sat down and watched it, we were like, what the fuck?
Especially that ending where everything gets all fucking crazy.
Wonky, yeah, but well, like we kind of looked for variations of what we usually watch, but we usually watch like Event Horizon on Halloween. And so we were like, I don't want to do the same thing we do every year, so let's watch something similar. And Sunshine was one we had just talked about, so we watched that. It's pretty good.
I was actually thinking you could do like what? Sunshine, Event Horizon, Alien, like Trapped on a Ship triple feature.
That'd be a good one.
Trapped on a Ship with monsters. The real monster is man. You know, who knows?
Turns out it was man. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds great. Sounds great. Well, I tell you what, let's get going, and maybe we'll get done on time. Who knows? Who knows?
I know. The answer is no.
So this week, like I said, we got a lot of stories, but we're going to start out with some fun stuff. We got a 15-minute actual gameplay preview of Elden Ring, which is interesting because so far Elden Ring has mostly just been trailers, interviews. There have been some impressions from journalists that have gotten to see it behind closed doors, but I think this is the first time that we've seen. I mean, normally I was actually thinking how I don't believe that I've ever seen a Souls game that does this level of showing you the game. Like for the most part, it's just moody trailers, and then it's like you got to figure it out for yourself once the game comes out. Whereas this was like a lot of information, like a lot of specific information about how this game works.
Yeah, is it just me, or is this a lot brighter than their other games? Like I know we're like currently looking at like a Tree of Light.
Yeah.
But it just seemed so like, I don't know. In my head, all the other games are like at nighttime and this game is during the day.
Are you telling me that Dark Souls games are dark? Is that what you're saying?
I don't want to start like stereotyping, but like, I mean, even Bloodborne was pretty dark.
Yeah. Well, Bloodborne took place. I think that part of it might be the fact that those games all took place in like a kind of a fixed time period, right? It was like, and in Souls, okay, so in Dark Souls 3, it was like during the twilight. No, well, there've been some daytime things. I think Bloodborne is very dark because it goes from like evening to night. Like there's never a daytime part in Bloodborne. But like Dark Souls 3 had some lighter, like the village was a little lighter. There have been some, I mean, even this though, you can see it's all like kind of cloudy and yellow. It's not like high noon. It's not like
I don't mean like it's fucking rainbows and delightful. I just mean that it does look more like daytime than night. It's
really interesting. I mean, okay, I actually want to hear, because I might end up going for a while here. What did you think when you saw this?
I didn't watch the whole thing because it was 20 minutes, and I was like,
yeah.
But what I saw, I thought was beautiful. Like, I think it's very, very pretty looking. I don't know. This is the only time I've seen one of their games that I was like, do I want to play this? Because it's kind of neat. I don't know. I mean, it looks hard as fuck. I was like, there are 20 things on the screen that will kill me now, and it's just like one dude walking around, and I'm just like, I'm gonna die.
So the things that really stood out to me from this were the things that so there were a couple of things, but the main thing that stood out to me was that there's a bunch of stuff in here that is just straight up not in the Souls games. Like there's a part with sneaking, and it's like there's never been like a push a button to sneak, like go down
like
in a crouch walk. Like there are stealth elements in Souls, like managing the enemies, like where they're looking, and there's been a few things with like spells that'll turn you invisible or make your footsteps quiet. But there's never been just like a straight up push the sneak button. It also looks like there's just a straight up push the jump button, whereas like in a lot of the Souls games there are jumps, but it's like every other Souls game, Bloodborne included, you have to like start running and then press a button while you're running to jump. And so it's a sort of tenuous maneuver. Like it can be really tricky. Another thing I noticed because of the jumping was that apparently there's no fall damage in this game, because there's numerous times during this game
that they
where they just jump off a high cliff. There's a map. We're looking at the map right now. There's never been a map before. It's always just been like...
There's never been a map before. No wonder I never would have played these fucking games.
Well,
I already get lost when a map is included, and they're like, I don't know, like instinctually know where you are. And it's like, I have to like Google Maps from my apartment to Jeff's house, and we live 2 blocks away from each other. I'm like, don't want to get lost.
Well, I think that that's a good segue, because the thing is that like you can see when you watch this that this is the kind of framework of the Souls franchise when it comes to movement and some of the combat and things like that, but the world is different because it's an open world. Like the previous Souls games were, I mean, it depends on what your definition of open world is, like whether you're talking about like, can you go anywhere? And it's like in a lot of Souls games, like there'll be a few locked doors, but you can get around those or whatever. But here it's like a big, massive, like overworld map, like a Breath of the Wild or a Shadow of Mordor or Grand Theft Auto, even, like kind of thing where you're like riding this horse around and like doing stuff, and then there are little areas that you go into. So the reason that you didn't need a map in...
Is it a horse?
Oh,
is it like a reindeer?
It's something.
Do you know what I mean? Like
it's got horns, and so that necessarily means that like it doesn't seem like it's quite as tight as Souls were, because the levels were so bespoke. Like you could hide a guy behind a door and you knew that your player was going to end up funneling through that door. Whereas like in this overworld section, like there's this area of like guys patrolling, and they show the character going down and stealthing in to get a treasure, and it seems like it has nothing to do with the main plot line. Which also is kind of weird, because you could kind of control the level range in Dark Souls, because you knew like kind of how much experience a character was going to have coming out of an area. And there literally wasn't just like, and then there's the entire world open, where do you want to go next? Whereas here, it seems like it's going to be a little bit less bespoke. Like it's going to be a little bit less of a truly directed experience.
Do you consider that a bad thing?
No. In fact, to be honest, like I wasn't this made me more excited for Elden Ring than I've been before, because when I first saw it, it was just like, oh, look, it's another Dark Souls game.
Right.
But this is significantly different. This, to me, I feel like when I watched it, I felt like this feels like Dark Souls and Shadow of Mordor got together and had a baby, right? Like, where it's still got the gritty kind of combat, and a lot of the style is definitely Souls.
Yeah, for sure.
But that the gameplay looks a little bit looser, and that's great, because that means that you can have more of those like Breath of the Wild, Shadow of Mordor emergent like you ended up doing a thing and then you almost died and then I ran away, but then I found this guy and we attacked. And those kind of stories, emergent stories that come up. But then it also looks like they've got like levels, like they show a castle level later on that looks like a Dark Souls level. In fact, it looks almost exactly like a Demon Souls level. That looks like it's more of just that. So it's almost like, well, what if there was bespoke Dark Souls levels, but in between there was a larger field and there was a more open experience? Because they show at one point, I'm a sucker whenever anybody in a video game, whenever any developer of any video game puts up a screen with like a menu screen, I always pause immediately. And so one of the points that they show in this screen is like the character crafting stuff on the fly, like crafting arrows in the world. And if you look at like, required items, thin animal bones found by hunting beasts, which means that like there's an economy of like almost like a Far Cry economy of like killing animals in the overworld map to gather the things that you need to make the arrows that you need to take on the enemies that you find, which is very different because in Souls there wasn't really that style of crafting. There were like upgrades, like you would get upgrade materials and then you use those to make your sword better, but there wasn't like you would just buy arrows. Like you had one currency and that currency was souls and you spent that on leveling up and powering up and buying items and buying armor and everything was souls. So
the community that's like these games are for, how are they responding to it, do you think?
I don't have any idea because this game just, well, for two reasons. One, this video just came out now, and two, I find the Dark Souls community to be a bunch of whiny bitches.
I just wonder, like, how much of this is they're like, look, we're going to do something different, but simultaneously, we're going to give you some of the things you like.
Sure.
And how much of it is like, best of both worlds. Oh, man, it takes what we love and putting something new, and we like that too. Or how much of it is like, no. Because, especially the video game audiences in general, they're very like particular about franchises or
I honestly think that the Dark Souls community is going to hate this game.
They hate everything, though. I don't even know if the Dark Souls community likes Dark Souls. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, because one, there've already been reports this game is significantly easier than any of the previous Souls games. There's not a difficulty slider, but that it's easier. And you can see that because if you have this big open world, you can't design the experience levels of the player to go from area to area because your player might just go out and dick around in this open world until they're way over leveled for anything. Like there's just less control when you have an open world game.
Right.
So I don't know.
Imagine if they made it super hard and excessively difficult, but an open world. So then you're just panic rushing an entire overworld of just the whole time.
Yeah, I don't know. I like it. Like I said, I like more of what I've seen. They show a few different biomes. They show this kind of like autumnal biome.
I mean, it just looks like it's a new flavor.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. So
well, for my money, I feel like poor Miyazaki has been locked into just like make 1 million of them, make more Souls games. And like I'm kind of glad that it seems like he decided that 3 was where he wanted to kind of put a cap on that and then move on to doing something else. So they got the Demon Souls remake, and this seems like a good way to try out some new ideas because From Software used to make all kinds of games. They used to make the Armored Core games. They used to make like horror games. They made Shadow Tower series. They made that Echo Knight series that Chris and I played for the Asylum this year. That was a From Software game. Like they made a medieval Japanese Resident Evil game called Kuon. Like they used to make a lot of different games, and then once Dark Souls blew up so hard, everybody was just like, make that, only that one
I really
thing.
wish video game companies weren't like that.
Yeah,
I would rather just get multiple or like a bunch of cool individual products as opposed to like make another one.
Well, the cool thing about From is that over the course of Dark Souls' success, Miyazaki became president of the company. So I think that he is basically just like, I'm done. And this is, I run this place. So like, there's nobody to tell me you got to make another one. I'll decide whether I want to make another one.
Yeah, which is kind of nice.
So yeah, there's some really big boss fights that look incredibly difficult, which should be good. They showed a kind of a section at the end with this character called the Golden King. It looks like they're bringing back some of the Dark Souls 2. Dark Souls 2 was supposed to have this very specific light thing where you had to have torches or else you couldn't see anything, and there's some of that in there.
Oh man, I love a good skeleton fight.
They show the skeleton and the animation the skeleton has of getting up and then like putting its kind of head on. Like every skeleton in every Souls game does that.
Really?
Yeah, kind of. But yeah, I mean, I think that like you can summon people, but then there's also this system of being able to summon like enemy spirits to fight for you in real time, which is kind of interesting. There's a lot going on in here. They got they got the new waifu. Every Souls game has to have a waifu.
Gotta have a waifu.
And this waifu she's got a one eyeball with a skeleton hand on it, and I guess that makes us love her all the more. That's the thing. Got some problem with people's eyes, like the Maiden in Black has this wax over her eyes, and the one in Dark Souls 3 had like a thing that covered her face, like half her face. But yeah, it looks good, and I'm really hoping that with this, like I never finished Sekiro because it was too hard, and there was no ability for me to go like just power up my character.
Yeah,
and this looks like they've decided they're moving away from that, and I'm like, great. And I'm hoping that between Miyazaki's obsessive, weird storytelling stuff and the fact that this thing is written by George R.R. Martin, that like we're going to get a good story out of it too.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. More excited now than I was before, because previously it was just an action montage.
Yeah.
And it all was just like, oh, okay, well, this is just Dark Souls 3. This is Dark Souls 4, right?
Yeah. Dark Souls again.
Yeah. I'm trying to think if there was anything else I didn't mention, but I'm sure there is.
Yeah, God, this looks so pretty.
Did you see the Golden King here at the end?
No, I didn't get to the end.
It's like this big dude with like a bunch of arms and like.
Sir, this is concerning.
Yeah.
I bet there is no itch he can't scratch.
There is definitely not. He's got all the arms, and they even kind of show in the middle, like in this boss fight, that there's definitely some kind of second phase where one of his arms turns into a giant dragon.
Yeah.
And at the end of the kind of showing stuff, the dragon head like grabs the player and then just breathes fire directly onto the player.
Yeah.
Which does not look fun.
Yeah, mildly aggressive. Chill, dude.
But yeah, I'm hoping that this works. I hope it works because I want them to break out. Like, it's just like, I hate the idea of any game studio having to make the same game, the same franchise over and over and over again. Like, I want them to be able to go out and do new stuff. I didn't like it when Naughty Dog.
Remedy, who needs to do more Control and more Alan Wake. Sorry, that was just in my heart.
Well, you know, I'm sure there are a lot of people who are just like, only Alan Wake. Only make Alan Wake. And then they were like, we're going to make Quantum Break. And everybody was like, why?
Yeah.
I
mean, still, even after Quantum Break, I'm like, but why? But then they made Control, and I'm like, you do whatever you want. You could do whatever, and then just at the end be like, oh, by the way, this is a Control. This was all like part of the same Bureau of Control. I'd be like, yes, whatever.
What if they made a game that was specifically like an action platformer with the puppets, with the puppets?
Oh, the Threshold Kids?
The Threshold Kids.
Do you think I wouldn't play that over and over again?
Nope, not even a little bit. Yeah, so Elden Ring, a little better. I'm a little bit more on board now than I was before. I'm still a little just because like Sekiro left a bad taste in my mouth. Dark Souls 3 was really derivative.
Yeah.
Bloodborne was really the last one that I really, really enjoyed and got into, but who knows?
Yeah, this one looks good.
From there, let's change gears entirely.
Yeah.
Because as of like Wednesday of last week, Nintendo actually put out the 2.0 patch for Animal Crossing New Horizon, like ahead of the November 5th release date.
Yeah.
They put it out on like the 3rd or the 2nd.
Yeah, everyone on my friends list was like, I had the weekend planned. You ruined my days.
I feel like I read a story where they said that the Animal Crossing villages are like negging you when you come back to the, like, after you've been gone for so long. There's like, oh, look who decided to show up.
Well, yeah, you get cockroaches in your house if you don't go back to your home and play the game. And then, like, anytime you talk to all your villagers, they'll be like, oh, it's been so long, I thought you forgot about us and shit. It's like, all right,
don't guilt trip me, video game.
Passive aggressive Sally, like, get the fuck out of here.
That makes me afraid to look in my house in Animal Crossing because
there'll be little cockroaches for sure.
Oh, well, I played it for like 2 weeks after it came out, and I decided that I didn't like Animal Crossing, and then I uninstalled it and have not been back since. But yeah, this is out ahead of time, and for anybody who watched the Nintendo Direct, there's just like a shitload. Oh
yeah, there's a lot. This is a prime example. This is the only story I know about because it's within my wheelhouse or like my realm, but simultaneously I gave you back Animal Crossing, so I haven't played it in months and months and months.
I don't know if I still have it. I might have loaned it to Grant.
You gave it to Grant, yeah.
Okay.
Because Grant was looking for Nintendo games for his kitties.
Okay.
But yeah, they like it. This came off like everything the fans have been asking for. They were like, we heard, and then they did it.
Yeah.
Like, this is a lot of stuff is really fucking awesome.
And then actually the DLC is out as well, right? The Happy Home Paradise.
Yes, it makes me want to buy it, but I spent almost an entire year when I had the game, like, playing and cultivating, doing my daily tasks and stuff, and then I stopped, and now I don't want to go back to those passive aggressive things. So if I rebuy the game, I would just start a new
oh no,
you're dead to me, and then just start from the beginning.
Can you do that? I thought there was a whole thing where there was like,
no, you can.
Okay,
yeah,
all right. Yeah, so if you're looking for something to do, I don't know how with the number of video games that are out right now you would need something else to do, but whole thing is out, and is out early.
Sometimes you just need a little cozy fucking Animal Crossing game where the animals hang out with you. Yeah. I cultivated all the angry, sarcastic villagers to live in my island, so they were all real, like, grumpy and mean all the time.
Nice.
There's an octopus I used to hang out with, Octavio or something, and he would literally just be like, everyone's against me but you, and I was like, yeah.
Like, oh no, I don't want this friend in real life or Animal Crossing. Let's see, in other Nintendo news, oh god, like, they put out the last Smash Brothers, so
they're like,
DLC.
So when are we gonna move on to the next?
Right. Oh, so there was an interview in Famitsu where Sakurai, the guy that made these, was like, didn't rule out the idea that there's going to be a sequel. He said, I'm not thinking about a sequel, but I can't say that this is definitely the last Smash Brothers. And in any other world that existed in this universe, that would not be news.
Yeah, that's not news.
But Smash Brothers fans are so goddamn insane that, like, because he said that, I'm sure that there are some people who are going to start downvoting every new Nintendo video that comes out because it's not the announcement of the next Smash Brothers game. Like, I don't even know what they would do. There's 80 fucking fighters in Smash Brothers.
Yeah.
Like damn, y'all.
Yeah, maybe enjoy what you have for a little bit. God damn. You got a brand new toy, barely opened it, and then are mad that you didn't get another brand new toy?
I mean, I don't really know if that's what the community. I mean, I just assume the Smash Brothers community is,
because they literally just got their last their last character, so they have a new thing to do.
Yes,
and they're like, but we want another new thing. It's like, well, you just got this one.
I said this before, and I will say it again. You will not get another Smash Brothers until there is a new Nintendo console, and what I mean is, like, post-Switch era, like whatever comes after. And I'm willing to bet right now, I'm 100% certain that that 4K Switch, that's still a thing. That just got pushed back by the pandemic, and they put out the OLED. But I'm certain that that's a thing. It was supposed to come out when Metroid Dread came out, because Dread is a little chonky on the existing Switch. And if there was a 4K Switch with a little bit more power, it would run beautifully, and it would look like absolutely fantastic. Not to say that it's a bad looking game or anything, but, like, you can kind of see. I think that the writing is on the wall that they're going to do another hardware refresh because they've done that. The DSi,
they do it all the time. It's in their game plan.
Yeah,
consistently.
But I don't think you're going to see even the start of a development of a new Smash Brothers until whatever is after the Switch is announced. Whatever the thing, not the 4K Switch, but whatever comes after that whole thing is over, that would be the time to start thinking about it. But it's interesting that he still was like, yeah, I haven't totally ruled it out, which is unfortunately video game code for like maybe as opposed to like, I don't know.
You should just be like, no.
Right.
And then when you get one, then you'd be like, I lied, bitches.
Yeah.
But if he said no, everyone would be mad.
Yes.
Like, this is in the wrestling world, there is a never say never rule. So whenever people be like, Joe, you going to go to the WWE? You going to be a professional wrestler now that you're not in the WWE? Are you going to go to this place?
Yeah.
Like any of those kind of bullshit questions that are stupid to answer one way or another. The popular answer is always, well, never say never.
Right.
And it's just, it's a never say never answer.
Yeah. Let's see. We also got news. This is a very strange story, but Eurogamer Germany reported that Goldeneye, the N64 game, was taken off of the banned games list in Germany, which has a very strict, like, big list of just like violent video games. There's like, nah, not here.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people are taking this to mean that with Nintendo launching the Switch Online expansion pack N64 games, that being taken off that list means that any day now we're going to see Goldeneye on that Switch N64 emulator.
Yeah.
Which would actually be really interesting because Goldeneye is like one of the most high profile games that like you can't run on emulators, or like it's really difficult. Like you need a really powerful system because of the way it was encoded for some reason.
Yeah.
So it'd be really interesting to have a way to play it. I've actually never played the original Goldeneye.
I played it a lot.
Yeah.
Not the story, just the
multiplayer?
The multiplayer. I didn't give a fuck about that story, but yeah. And then we at some point we tried to go back. Like we brought out the N64 and we're like, yo, this will be fun.
Yeah.
Oh my God. It's so hard. You can only look forward, everybody. Never look back. It's
apparently
horrible.
I mean, the other thing is, as we talked about last week, Nintendo also really needs to fix the emulator, because apparently those that like Ocarina of Time like doesn't look as good as it did on the Wii N64 emulator. Textures are all kind of chunky. There's like a bunch of weird shit going on. So
yeah,
part of it is just that Nintendo needs to like fix it. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe Goldeneye. I mean, there was also news in this particular story that like the Blood Rain 1 and Blood Rain 2 were taken off of that list, which there was a re-release of Blood Rain that is eventually coming to the Switch of Blood Rain 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And so that's probably the same reason that it got taken off, was so that it could come to the Switch. So, yeah. Good news for people who like violent video games, like me.
Yay. Violence.
Speaking of violence, Bowser had to pay a lot of money. Had to pay $4.5 million.
For kidnapping the princess?
Not that Bowser.
The president, or was he president? What is he?
Doug Bowser?
Yeah.
Not that Bowser either.
How many fucking Bowsers are there?
Exactly 3. Yeah. There was a third Bowser, Gary Bowser. Gary Bowser is like a hacker who was selling like Nintendo Switch software that you could use to like mod a Switch to run downloaded games on it.
Oh,
and
interesting.
Like various hardware and tools, and he was using as part of this group called Team Executor, with just Executor.
Are they from the 90s?
Yes. Well, this all happened in Seattle as well. But,
Jesus Christ.
Apparently,
is he played by Matthew Lillard? I'm just trying to figure out where we're at here.
Busey, obviously.
Obviously.
No. So like the thing is that I always come up to these stories and I'm just like, because you remember the like the headline on this story, he was ordered to pay $4.5 million.
Yeah.
And like apparently this endeavor was making like they were said to have estimated to have brought in like $10 million over the time that they were doing this.
Holy shit.
And this he had to pay $4.5 million and like flip on the rest of Team Executor in order to get this plea deal. And it all just brings back to me the thing where I'm just like, is this really like... I mean, I guess like if they're making tens of millions of dollars, then yes, this is a big motherfucking deal. I get a little weird about the whole like we're taking the pirates to court, because it's always just like, I don't know, it's just some college kid that wants to download Doom. Yeah. But I don't think it's like that anymore. Like,
oh no, you can be like a corporate douche hacker man.
Yeah. You could be
I see. So if they made this movie, it would be like Hackers, but if Hackers was just a social network.
Okay,
do you know what I mean? Like that's what the movie would be. Like you want it to be Hackers, where it's these like underdogs coming together, going against the big business, but then simultaneously, it's probably just a bunch of rich kids that know how to use a computer.
Yeah. Apparently, there's also a civil lawsuit that Nintendo is filing against this guy. So this was
Nintendo's like, we are not done.
Yeah. Also, this is your weekly reminder of Nintendo, incredibly litigious company. Very, very litigious and does not have a sense of humor at all.
Yeah,
not even a little bit.
Which is kind of funny in its own way.
Yeah.
The ever straight man. Also, why is it always Bowser?
I don't know.
Why is it always Bowser?
Did Gary Bowser, was he like, well, my last name is Bowser,
so might as well.
You know, the world thinks you're a villain. You might as well. So that happened. I don't know, people might actually need emulators.
Do you think this would be less of a story if that guy's name wasn't Bowser and everyone was like, we're gonna pick up on this headline? Maybe.
I don't know, like every so often one of these stories comes across my news feed, and I'm always fascinated by them, where it's like man arrested in Japan for selling like Monster Hunter with hacked save games on it, and he was making like $1,000 a month, and like
that's crazy.
It's like, who's buying these things?
Can you imagine being that person that's your job?
No.
Like what?
Obviously not.
What kind of weird world? There's like a totally different.
Actually, you know what? I can almost imagine being the person who that's their job. What I can't imagine is being a person who's like, I'm gonna give somebody money for a cheated version of a thing. Yeah. Like there are all these stories about like these like hacker groups that run cheat tools for like Call of Duty, and they've become like subscription services where you literally are paying like $40 a month to this group to give you this tool so you could cheat in Call of Duty. And for the life of me, my brain refuses to make the two neurons bang together of just like, why would I pay money to win in Call of Duty? Like if I wasn't good enough to play Call of Duty, wouldn't I just... I don't know. Maybe I'm just old and I'm a goody two shoes, and all the kids are into. Maybe it's like, right, your friends are all making fun of you at school, but then you buy a cheat tool and you like rule in Fortnite, and suddenly your friends are all just like, "Wow, this is my friend Billy. He's the best in Fortnite." The girls are all just like, "Cute, he's so charming."
I would want to touch his penis.
Right,
like it's Fortnite.
I don't know what high school is like anymore. I don't have any idea what the fuck high school is like.
Yeah.
Everything I read on the internet says insanity, or unrecognizable from when I was in high school.
Yeah,
so.
I imagine it's like TikTok dances and Fortnite. That's all I got.
Just everybody in school is dressed like a Fortnite character, TikTok dancing down the hall while like somebody else is filming them.
Yeah. Is that not everyone has a vlog?
I don't know.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't.
Do people have vlogs anymore?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know the answer to these questions.
I don't know.
Anyway, speaking of Nintendo, another this is a bad story that we had this week. Is apparently Nintendo has decided to cut their Switch production over the next quarter by 20% because of chip shortages. And that will equal 24 million fewer Switches in the world for people to buy this holiday season.
Oh, man. That sucks.
Yeah.
And Switches were like hot commodities during pandemic. People were all about them Switches.
I don't think they've stopped.
Yeah.
I don't think it's ever stopped. Like, it's just been like...
Yeah, this is a very successful launch for their console, frankly.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, John and I have too. Like,
like during the pandemic, I remember reading articles of people who were like, I bought 4 dead Switches to try to like cobble together one working one because you just couldn't buy them.
Yeah.
And that was And then Animal Crossing came out, and you extra special couldn't buy one at that point.
Yeah.
So, and then this year, I mean, like, the thing is that this year has been really, really good for Nintendo. The Super Mario 3D World re-release was earlier this year, which was a big boost.
Yeah.
The Switch OLED came out this year, which was big. Metroid Dread has apparently been fucking huge. You know, like they just did that update to Animal Crossing to bring people back to that. The new Mario Party came out like last week, and we just haven't played it yet. So
buddy plays it every fucking day. He's like, every night we saved the spooky map for Halloween, and like, you know, him and his girlfriend like all day every day play this game, and I'm just like, I haven't even bought it yet, man.
It's good that you can't hear me roll my eyes on a podcast because it would just be like baruch, baruch, baruch. Yeah, so no good. Big shortage of Switches. Try to get your Switches while you can. In other console news, Sony apparently is airlifting PS5s to the UK for Christmas time.
Holy shit.
Apparently they were like loading up 747s. They said that they're shipped like
we are can you imagine? All right, hear me out. Heist movie. Everything's going to be a movie today. This is the mood I'm in.
Okay.
I drank a lot of sugar before I got here.
Yeah.
Heist movie, hijacking a plane full of PlayStation 5.
Actually, what I want is the John Wick movie where somebody finds the scalpers, like the Liam Neeson Taken movie.
Oh my God.
Where Liam Neeson is trying to buy a PlayStation 5 and then it says sold out immediately when he goes to check out. And then he's like, I don't know where you are. He starts hunting down scalper groups and bashing a bunch of 16-year-olds' heads into the wall. Getting PlayStations and giving them to people who deserve them.
Like Jingle All the Way means John Wick.
Yes.
John Wick all the way.
Did you see there was a trailer I saw earlier today there's like on Disney Plus, there's like a Neil Patrick Harris movie, and it's like Neil Patrick Harris telling his daughter about the 80s when him and his gangly group of friends in like 87 were trying to get a Nintendo at Christmas time. And I'm like, I'm going to watch the fuck out of this movie.
I think so. I haven't seen the trailer, but I saw people passing it around like, you should see this.
Yeah.
Like, this looks fucking fun.
Yeah.
So I'll have to check it out because the premise is up there.
It was like a Christmas Story in the 80s, but instead of a Red Ryder BB gun, and they want like a Nintendo.
Yeah.
And I'm just like,
yes.
Yeah, 100%. Yes, 100% I will watch.
Relatable. I totally understand what they're saying. Yeah.
There's a part in the trailer where there's this like they kind of come around the corner and there's just these shelves that are just completely empty with like trash on the floor. And there's this guy standing here. He's like, they were gone in 20 minutes. I saw a woman punch a grandma in the face.
That is 100% a true story that had to have happened.
Dude, in the 80s?
Yeah.
Man, you get punched in the face trying to get a Cabbage Patch doll.
Yeah.
Anyway, Sony is airlifting a bunch of PlayStations.
Speaking of punching people in the face, Sony
to the UK.
Yeah.
Hopefully, the people will get them at Christmas time. I mean, like, I feel really bad. Like, I was able to get these new consoles relatively easily. I mean, the Xbox was a little bit of work, but like the PlayStation, I managed to like, bam, get it. And I've never been able to reconcile that it was just like really, really pure luck.
Yeah.
And it was so lucky considering the people who have been trying to get one for a long period of time. Like there was a restock last week at Walmart that was like a shit show because they changed their online ordering and the site just crashed over and over again.
Walmart's online order system in general has been garbage.
Yeah.
Anyway, because John's like a figure collector, action figures.
Oh, right, yeah.
And they'll be like, pre-order, just kidding, pre-order, just kidding,
right.
It's gone. You paid. No, you didn't.
And it's gone.
Yeah, like, fuck that. I mean, it also helps that Michael is a part of our troop of warriors here.
Right.
And so he has his finger on the pulse of like, this store's getting some. I'm waiting in line. Do you want one? And it's like, yes, Michael, I do. Yes,
no, that was why I got my PlayStation.
Yeah.
Like, I literally was mad at him for looking at his phone, and then he was like, dude, I think the PlayStation just went on pre-order. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
And then like it was done.
Yeah. So the reason it's luck, it's also Michael.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying is if you need a console, you have to be friends with Michael.
Yeah.
Let's see. Not to be outdone with any of the rest of our stories, the Xbox put up a Xbox Flight Simulator controller. This is
holy buttons, Batman!
Brand new thing. Turtle Beach, the guys that make the sound cards and stuff, made this, and it's like a grabbing a stick. It's like a 747. It's not like a flight stick, right? Like it's a 2-stick. It's got all the buttons on it. It's got like the 4 different throttles and knobs and buttons and whatever. This went on sale on Wednesday. These bad mamma jammas are $380 a pop.
What am I, a fucking Rockefeller? Where am I going to get $380?
It doesn't matter if you have $380. They're obviously sold out already.
Yeah.
So,
God damn. See, I would buy something like that, and then I would use it to play like Animal Crossing just to be a douche. Like,
I would buy that to learn to play speedrun Dark Souls 3 with the flight controller. Last week, the last story we had last week was a guy that beat Dark Souls 3 with one button doing Morse code to send inputs to the game.
Crazy.
So
I literally watched a guy on YouTube, Chris Danker, he tried to win a match in like 2K19 in WWE 2K19 using voice controls. So he was literally like, punch, pin, block. It was the worst.
So yeah, but this thing looks pretty cool. Turtle Beach apparently is doing restocks on them. Like there is a thing on their website to get notified. If you're into Microsoft Flight Simulator, I'm sure you already knew about this.
Yeah.
But this is exceptional because it works with the Xbox, which a lot of the current flight sticks don't. And because Flight Simulator is on Game Pass, you can literally play it on your Xbox using this controller.
Oh, it's really nice that it's free on Game Pass because you pay $380 for the controller for it.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of any other game you would end up playing. I don't even think I would like to play an action flight simulator with this. I don't think I'd like to play Star Wars Squadrons with this because it's like it's the big steering wheel for a jumbo jet, not like a fucking dog fighting stick.
Yeah, there are some people that are like exclusive flight simulator players. Though.
Oh yeah,
like this might be the investment for them.
100%.
Yeah.
Let's see. Speaking of Microsoft, if you got Game Pass, apparently Battlefield 2042 is going to have a 10-hour trial that you can get for either EA Play or Game Pass coming up on November 12th. November 12th is also the day when Battlefield 2042, if you buy the really expensive version, you can get to play it a week early. That's
doing
that whole thing.
Week early.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're like into it, the game looked decent. We saw the trailer. I don't know if you're going to talk about the trailer.
Well, it's later on down the list that we got the Portal trailer for it. But
decent.
It definitely looks like a Battlefield game.
Yeah.
Like if you're into Battlefield, it's kind of like the new Call of Duty game where it's like it looks like Call of Duty.
Yeah, it's what I want. It's what I want. Yeah.
But yeah, just a heads up to everybody. Let's see. Another good piece of online news. Like 2 weeks after it happened, Square Enix has finally removed the experience point boosters from the Avengers. So I don't know how much you know about this, Amanda. But,
I know little to not.
When the Avengers was originally announced, they came out and they were like, and there will be no pay-to-win mechanics in this game. Only cosmetics, we promise.
Yeah.
And then, like, they did that, and then the game came out on the Xbox Game Pass, and then, like, 48 hours later, they were like, hey, we're selling experience points boosters that you can use to get more experience points. Also, between those two events, there was a certain point where Crystal Dynamics literally made the levels harder to get. Like, you had to put in more XP, and I will never stop saying their excuse for this was like, well, we think the players are just leveling up too fast and they might get confused by the number of different abilities that they're getting. So we just need to slow it down so they can get used to each thing. And it was like,
my favorite thing about we're just trying to swindle you for money is being like, we thought you were too stupid to appreciate how this video game works.
Right. That's not a problem with the experience points. That's a problem with your dumb video game that you do. If it really was confusing, which I'd never heard a single person say.
Yeah.
But if it actually was confusing, that's a bad video game.
Yeah, that's a flaw in game design, buddy.
Yeah. So very shortly after they put out the Game Pass, they put up these boosters. They had a really, really mealy-mouthed response when people were like, you said, and they were like, well, this isn't pay to win. Like, you're paying for a booster, and then it's like you still have to earn the experience points that gets boosted. So technically, we didn't break our promises.
Yeah.
Not that I feel like a game like Avengers, which has been teetering on the edge of a dumpster full of flames, should be playing the semantic game and not just like metaphorically sucking the dicks of every person that wants to play that game, because like there's not a lot of people that want to play that game. They are on the verge of this whole thing getting shut down, and how a studio has messed up something as lucrative as the goddamn Avengers is quite beyond me. I have no idea how this has happened. But, so yeah, but they're out. And also, they put out a little press release where I'm not going to read all the.
It essentially says, "LOL, whoopsie doodle."
Yeah, it's just, we apologize for not responding sooner to your concerns about the blah blah blah. After considering your feedback, we've decided by the end of today that we'll remove the blah blah blah. And then the only part that's really worth noting is, we hope that this can be the first step in rebuilding your confidence in us as a team.
No. Too little, too late, Avengers.
I mean, I'm not gonna, I'd probably put it a different way where, like, there are 1 billion video games right now for people to play, and there are some really, really good ones. Why? I mean, I guess, like, if you want to play with your friends, like Avengers, maybe that's a thing.
Yeah.
But, like, if you want to play a fucking Marvel Studios game, that Guardians of the Galaxy game is fucking toit. Like, go play that instead, or like replay Spider-Man on your PlayStation. Like, there's a lot of different ways to do stuff, and it's only a matter of time before this shit gets bowled over, because Ubisoft is making a Star Wars game. Who's making Marvel games right now? Ubisoft's making a Star Wars game. What's its face? The Detroit people are making a Star Wars game.
Are they really?
Yeah. But anyway, we also got the news, though, apparently, because of the Q3 earnings calls, that Marvel's Avengers is a disappointment to Square Enix.
What?
Now, I'm going to do something that I don't do very often, Amanda, which is I'm going to defend Marvel's The Avengers briefly, because Square Enix is one of the most shitty and delusional publishers I've ever seen. They expected the Tomb Raider reboot to sell like Call of Duty numbers, like 6 million, and they're fucking,
like, they just have no realistic.
CEO came out and like apologized and took a pay cut. They bought IO Interactive and forced them to make Hitman episodic, and then it didn't sell as well as they wanted, and so they let IO go because they had incredibly unrealistic expectations. Like, that franchise is a success. IO is now an independent developer, and there are 3 of those games, and they are doing well in spite of all the 7 Deadly Sins bullshit, right? And they're fun games. Like, it was, and I didn't even dislike, once I got used to it, I didn't even dislike the episodic thing. Like, if they had just kept IO on and kept putting out like a Hitman level every 2 months forever,
it'd be just like this decent fucking paycheck every time.
I would be 100% down for that. They also, what was the other one that they did? There was another one. There was another IO Interactor, another Square Enix thing that they did. I don't know. They've been just no good.
Yeah, if it's not like the best-selling game of the year, then it's not a success, and then they act real fucking confused that all their games are not successes because they set a standard that doesn't exist in this world.
Yes. Yeah. So
I'm not a huge fan of Square Enix.
I don't like them. On the other hand, well, the other thing is that I feel like you can look at their track record and see the fingerprints of like Square Enix meddled in the development of this thing.
Yeah.
And that, like, I don't know. I was saying on another video that I've been listening to the audiobook of Jason Schreier's latest book that he just put out, which I really should know the name of to be able to pimp out. But like, listening to him describe like the development of BioShock and XCOM and a bunch of these big games that got a lot of studio interference, the fact that this had to be a live service game to me feels like something that where somebody came along and they were just like, no, it has to.
Yeah.
We have to compete with Destiny. Does it make any sense that Avengers, like the super character driven thing, is the one where you're going to have players? Like, does it make any fucking sense for, like, it would make more sense if they had like create your own hero at the beginning of this, and you're like the new guy in the Avengers, and then when you get done, you can team up with your friends and make your own Avengers with your own OC characters, like City of Heroes. But no. However, there's some nice things in here where they talk about like taking on the games and service models highlights highlighted issues that we are likely to face in future game development. They basically spun this whole thing as just like, it's been a really good learning experience. And it's just like...
Yeah, shut up. You haven't learned shit.
Oh, I know what the other one was. They took Deus Ex and they made Deus Ex Human Revolution end on a cliffhanger for a sequel that has never happened. Which is just like, why? It was like the Dune shit where they were like, well, if it sells like Call of Duty, we'll make another one. And it's like, everybody can just be like, it's not going to. Nobody's going to sell Deus Ex in this, like the amount that you're talking about, because the studio that made that game made Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah, they got moved over to that. So, yeah. But surprise, surprise, Marvel's Avengers is not doing the numbers that Square Enix wants. I'm shocked.
Shocked, I say.
Shocked.
Shocked and appalled.
Yes. From there, we have another earnings story where apparently Activision is not doing the best of numbers. Activision, Blizzard put out their earnings call, and apparently when you look at it, so last year...
Yeah, I was going to say, what games did Activision come out with that would...
Well, last year they had Call of Duty, obviously, and then they also had the Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 re-release.
Fuck, I forgot that was last year.
And then they actually put out Warzone, I believe, launched in 2020. Or it was ramping up in 2020, somewhere around there. But in any case, Warzone was still new enough that they were making money off of that. But Vicarious Visions that made the Tony Hawk, they're being absorbed into Blizzard. Warzone, you know, in previous years we had like some of the Crash stuff, and Spyro re-released Toys for Bob made. Toys for Bob is now part of the Call of Duty team. Everything's been rolled into Call of Duty. So like they didn't have anything except for last year's Black Ops game. Like that was the only thing they had. So they didn't have any other revenue streams outside of just that. Yeah. So apparently their revenue was up, but a lot of that came from... Apparently, King did really good this year with there was a lot of updates to Candy Crush and Farm Heroes, which
okay,
fucking whatever.
Sure, yeah.
I don't know that people are still playing Candy Crush, to be honest.
Oh, I know people that have been playing since the fucking beginning, and it's like,
really, bro?
Yeah, like
really. Haven't you finished it yet?
There's no end.
Oh, great.
Of course, there's no end. But those sounds kill me. I can't.
I don't know what it sounds like. I'm so far removed from Candy Crush.
It just makes like, I don't know. I don't like the sound design for it, basically. It's just like all the like this pops and this fizzes and it's just too much for me. I think it's one of those, it's designed to make you like addicted and you want to hear these noises. But to me, it's like nails on a chalkboard.
Sure.
I'm just like, can't do it.
The exact opposite.
Fucking hate it. Yeah, I cannot do it.
Well, then apparently the other thing is that, Blizzard hasn't put anything out, but they did put out the Diablo 2 re-release this year, which apparently sold very, very well for them. That was I believe that was made by Vicarious Visions, and after they got done doing the Tony Hawk re-release, that they got brought on to Blizzard to do the Diablo 2.
They're just doing re-release after re-release?
Apparently. So, yeah, apparently it was King and Blizzard's profits over the last quarter. And apparently Activision, because this is just Q3, so this is not like the year, it's just the last quarter. But apparently Activision is just kind of treading water. And so the question is going to be when Vanguard comes out later, let's say by the time you hear this, it will have already come out. But when Vanguard comes out, is that going to be a big enough, like, because Activision is really betting the farm that every year the Call of Duty is going to be like the thing to push them all the way through to the next year. So it'll be interesting to see whether that happens. Speaking of Blizzard also delayed Diablo 4 and Overwatch 2. Blizzard does not have shit. Like last year, I think there was an update to the World of Warcraft Classic. They put out, they literally re-released one of the expansions for World of Warcraft Classic. I think there might have been some other updates to various games here and there, but we already knew Overwatch 2 and Diablo 4 weren't coming out this year, but right now the projected release date looks like 2023. Yeah. Which is, at that point, going to have been a long fucking time before, like, Overwatch was the last new original game that Blizzard put out. Yeah. And that shit, I mean, you and I went through the whole cycle of like, oh, I'll play Overwatch all the time. Can't wait to see who the next character is. I love getting these boxes. Like, oh, I'll just log in for the events,
the holiday loot boxes,
right?
And shit,
Or like, oh, they put out a new character. I guess I'll play them a little bit. Weekly challenge, get a few new outfits.
Yeah,
it's just like, all right, this is no fun. I don't want to play this anymore.
Yeah, whatever.
So. And Diablo.
It'll be 2023 before anybody gets on the fucking payload anyway, so what's the point?
That was good. Diablo Immortal, I guess, still has to come out, the fucking phone game that they're making. The famous, don't you guys have cell phones, when they got booed on stage at BlizzCon for trying to, because they came out to announce a new Diablo game. And everyone was like, yes, Diablo 4. They were like, it's the phone one. And everyone was like,
what? Yeah.
And then the guy was like, don't you guys have cell phones? And everyone was like, again. And I think with that, we're going to go ahead and take a break. We're running a little long. We're right in the middle of the Activision block.
We're going to break up that Activision shit, you know?
Yeah. We'll give everybody a little bit of time to sit with this Overwatch 2 delay.
Digest it. Think about it.
Yes.
Here's a little bit of Jeff playing the concertina.
I'm not putting that in I'm not putting that in here. I can't play well enough. That's not what's happening. And we're back.
Hello.
Yes. And we left the Rage Select podcast, we were talking about Blizzard having trouble and like moving their games off.
Yeah.
Blizzard has more trouble.
What? Shock, I say.
Yeah. So apparently, I don't know how much you know about this, but after all the stuff started blowing up, J. Allen Brack, who was the head of Blizzard, left and was replaced by Mike Ybarra and Jen O'Neill as co-heads of Blizzard. And as of this week,
some sort of, you slice one head off and then two grow.
I don't have any idea. I don't know.
Do you know what I mean?
It's not a problem anymore because Jen O'Neill has decided to leave.
Wow.
She was actually the studio head for Vicarious Visions that made the Tony Hawk and the Diablo stuff. I get the impression that she was kind of just there to like finish out in a statement that she put out, she basically said, because she's leaving to join the nonprofit called Women in Games International, and she basically said that like after watching all this stuff go down, she just got really interested in like, you know, making sure that ladies have
women
like
don't get treated like shit.
Right. So she's going to go
there's not
work.
a horrifying toxic environment.
Yeah. So she's just leaving to go do that. Also, to me, I feel like it's just because I'm listening to that book that it also smacks of like she wanted to see Diablo 2 get launched before she left because she was head of the team that was making that.
Yeah.
And now that that's out, it's like she can leave. Also, part of the story is that Vicarious Visions is getting directly absorbed into Blizzard. Like they're taking away their name.
Yeah.
Like they're now just part of Blizzard.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And in fact, if I can go back a little bit, even though we just had a 30-second break, you know, I didn't realize until I was reading the story that Diablo 4 and Overwatch 2, like Jeff Kaplan, the guy that was the director for Overwatch, he left like when this stuff started happening. Yeah. And one of the heads, creative directors on Diablo 4 also left. So like that explains a lot why they have to get pushed back because
they're losing all the,
they got to bring in new people to staff up those things. Let's see, another Activision Blizzard news. We're not done yet, but apparently... As part of the Q3 report, Kotick and Company talked about how, actually, there was a story a few weeks back that was like 20 people leave Blizzard. We don't know why.
Oh, yeah. I remember that.
Apparently, part of that was because Activision Blizzard is now just like really, really, really like hyping up the like, if there is an infraction, you're fucking out of here. Like none of this warning bullshit. We're just like going to start kicking people out if we find that they're being shitty. And so part of this was basically stated outright by Bobby Kotick at the earnings call that they had, where they were talking about all this stuff to stockholders, how they're really just ramping up enforcement of like HR stuff. So if there's an HR complaint and it's found to be, you know, legitimate, like you're pretty much going to be out of there, which is probably what needs to happen for a little while because...
Yeah, you need to weed out all the
the jerk-offs. Yeah. But I mean, it's possible that some people might get caught up.
Maybe start from the top and work your way down, though. You know what I mean?
Well, actually, I mean, to be honest, like I'm saying, I mostly want to pause on this for a second because last week Bobby Kotick suspended, or they like reduced his salary to the minimum amount possible by his contract, with the stipulation that like it can't go back up until this stuff has been resolved. So like,
yeah. Oh, so everything started getting resolved real fucking quick when he took his money away. Funny how that works.
Well, okay, so I think that if you look at the whole story of this Activision Blizzard stuff, that this stuff started and they expected to be able to do the lip service like, we're dedicated to making sure that this is a great place for everybody to work.
Corporate jargon and
right.
shit.
But that it was too exposed by the lawsuit. Like there was too many details. And then as the workers started banding together and just like putting shit out on Twitter, that it was like, you're going to have to make these people happy. You can't just say we're dedicated to making a difference, tell everybody that they're not allowed to say anything due to their contracts, and then try to move on with the business. Like they axed a lot of people from Blizzard, and you know, as the earnings call shows, like Activision's in a weirdly tenuous position because they're a really big, it was like $27 billion company or something like that. Like they're a huge company, but you know, none of that means anything if like, if you get a groundswell of people who are just like, I feel icky buying this game because of the things that I've heard online. Like, I don't really need to play the latest re-release of Diablo. I don't need to play the latest Call of Duty. I don't need to play Candy Crush.
Yeah,
like,
I'm probably not going to get the next Overwatch. And I was all about Overwatch.
Yeah.
But there's a good chance, unless I start hearing positive news, that I probably won't touch Blizzard stuff ever again.
It's also possible that Blizzard is going to be an entirely different company in 5 years. They're just going to get absorbed into Activision. I mean, if the new Call of Duty does good, it's possible that because some of the really iconic leadership at Blizzard has left, that Activision will just start siphoning talent out of Blizzard to work on Call of Duty until they are basically a husk of their former selves and they could just be made to do whatever they want.
Yeah.
So, but this is actually a step in a good direction, I think, as opposed to Ubisoft. So workers at Ubisoft created a group called A Better Ubisoft quite a while when was it 2019 or early 2020 when like the Ubisoft kind of abuse stuff started coming out.
Yeah.
And this group is like, Ubisoft has done exactly jack shit nothing. Like
shock and awe.
Yeah, like that the things that they've done are exactly what I would have expected Activision Blizzard to do, where they're just like, well, we've created a new one of the things they said they were using as a way to like listen to the complaints of the people that worked there was like, you know, we're going to have more employee surveys, and it's like, well, everybody knows that you can do that and then just ignore whatever is on the survey and go on with your day. So basically A Better Ubisoft is just kind of making some noise and trying to keep in the public mind the fact that like there is a problem at Ubisoft. It is not being actively worked on. Like they did the thing where they fired a few top level people, like 3, and one of them cheated on his wife. One of them was a serial abuser. And they got rid of those people. They shuffled some folks around, but all reports right now seem to be that Ubisoft is just as shitty a place to work now as it was when the stuff originally came out.
Yeah, except now you have to like fill out a worksheet that says that it's to tell you that they care about you. You know, that kind of corporate bullshit.
Yeah. It's really
I hate this stuff, man. It gets me like heated real quick.
No, I get it. I mean, it's also really difficult because like I think I made the decision that this week we're going to play the new Call of Duty, and mostly it's because I don't know, like I mean, like a lot of the bad stuff that we heard that was happening in Blizzard, not in Activision.
Yeah.
And like I haven't actually talked about this on Rage Select before, so like hot tea. Like
oh shit.
Here's the scoops. Yeah. But like if you look through our video library, you'll see that I skipped Diablo 2 Remastered. I was just like, I don't need to play a re-release of an old game. 1, 2, there are a lot of new games and indie games and other things that I could look at that are more interesting. And 3, like, I don't want to support Blizzard right now.
Yeah.
Like, whereas Activision is shitty, but they're kind of the same level of shitty that they've always been. I don't know. I have some really hard times with like I feel better about not necessarily supporting Activision, but not buying their games, because it looks like Activision is being forced to actually try and make a difference. Ubisoft, on the other hand, is not doing that. Well, I think the other problem with Ubisoft is that Ubisoft is a family-owned company, whereas Activision is a publicly traded company. So, like, stockholders can put pressure on Bobby Kotick to make things happen at Activision, whereas Ubisoft is primarily controlled by the Guillemot family. Like, a lot of the head studio positions are like Yves Guillemot's immediate relatives or like sons-in-laws and things like that. So I don't think they have as much of a financial incentive to try to make changes. Also, as you can see from this, like, I just don't feel like when people are like, it's still real bad at Ubisoft, and I never felt like there was a big outcry even in the first place. Even when we found out about this, it was just like, yeah, shitty video game companies, what are you gonna do? So I don't know but let's move on back to video games from horrible social things. So Assassin's Creed Infinity, which was announced a little while back as the games as service free-to-play Assassin's Creed game that will be updated infinitely with content for you and your friends to play, as is pretty much every other game that Ubisoft is making, because they decided that they wanted to move into games as service. And that didn't mean just making like one game games as service. It means The Division is games as service, Rainbow Six is games as service, Assassin's Creed is games as service. Every fucking thing is games as service now. But there was, during their earnings call, that was revealed that apparently whatever this thing is, it's not going to be free to play. It's literally going to be like you pay money, and then there's also going to be just tons and tons of updates. So it's supposed to be a really big world, and then you can play in it, and then there'll be a bunch of updates come in. I don't necessarily think that's very much different than what the past few Assassin's Creeds have been, especially Valhalla has had like just a shitload of like, here's your weekly quest, here's the latest DLC, here's a new update to give you an axe. So
weird.
I never, ever wanted to play Assassin's Creed as a multiplayer game.
That's kind of where I'm like, I guess because I don't play a lot of multiplayer games, I just don't know how. I don't see the appeal of it. I tried, and I don't get my jollies the same. Well, plus I play it. I never want to be beholden to somebody else's schedule, right? Like when I play Guardians of the Galaxy, I want to be like, it's 11:15. I've got 45 minutes. I'm going to play 45 minutes of this game and then put it down, as opposed to like, we're raiding at 6. You got to be on. And it's just like, well, it's got things I have to do. And like, no, you're our tank. You got to come, bro. And it's like, I ain't got time for that. Your video game priorities in order, my dude.
So I don't know. This just kind of seems like it's going to end up being the next Assassin's Creed, kind of same as the previous one, just moving more into the space of, with the intent of games as service as opposed to any kind of single.
Which also is fine. It's just weird to me that they keep like taking games that were perfectly fine as just like standard narrative kind of games, and then being like, now we're just going to make it less good. When you could just make a good game, like a new franchise, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, maybe that's just me being like weird.
I mean, the thing is that they're making shitloads of money, so I mean, I think this
must be nice.
I think it's just one of those things where it's like there is a niche for this games as service thing, and it does appeal to a lot of people. Just not to me. Like, I have no interest whatsoever. The last Ubisoft game I really enjoyed was that Immortals Phoenix Rising, and that was like just a Breath of the Wild single player ripoff. And I was like, all right, cool.
But like a really good Breath of the Wild single player ripoff.
Let's see, another new game news. Apparently, Amy Hennig, who we haven't heard from, I think, since Star Wars 1313 got canned. No, not 1313. It was the one that Visceral was making after that, is making a Marvel game. So that's the answer to my question before about who's making more Marvel games.
Oh, that's right.
Amy Hennig announced that they're making a Marvel game with Skydance, which unfortunately, that's not great. Like when I went and looked at Skydance's game catalog, they're not exactly known as like, even like Annapurna Interactive has a better game catalog than Skydance does. Like they've got like 2 games and they're not really all that great. So,
well, maybe this is their chance.
Yeah, maybe so. So yeah, she's working as creative director on Marvel focused game. I don't know. I also kind of feel like we might be at a point, let's take a little jog over here for a little while, where like Marvel feels very unfocused right now. Like they don't have any idea what to do. And I kind of feel like they're just throwing out a lot of stuff to see what sticks.
Yeah.
So who knows?
Beauty of the multiverse, baby.
Yeah. Well, like, is this going to be part of the MCU? Because like the Guardians game is comic book Guardians, even though it has a lot of the movie DNA. Or actually, I've been saying that, but I think it might just be that like the movie was so faithful to the comics that they resembled each other so much that like you see comic Guardians of the Galaxy and you're like, oh, it's just like the movie, and it's like, no, the movie is just like the comics.
Yeah,
it's the other way around. So yeah, but that ought to be fun. I mean, you know,
hopefully,
same thing for me in a while. Let's see. Moving on from there, Netflix has been talking about getting into the game business, and they are now apparently in the game business. Allegedly. I say allegedly because this news stories that came out were like, you can play them on your phone right now. And I looked at my phone and there was no games on it. So
John told me about this, and I do have the Netflix app on my phone. And
do you have any Stranger Things games on your phone?
Nope.
Yeah. Apparently it launched with Stranger Things 1984, Stranger Things 3, Shooting Hoops, Card Blast, and Teeter Up, which those last 3 all sound like some real cell phone garbage.
Yeah.
But apparently, once this gets straightened out, though, it's interesting because if you have Netflix, this is just included. It's not like pay an extra, you have to have the premium package, right?
I think basically what's happening right now is it's like secretly we're beta testing it, right? Yeah. And so if it becomes a successful thing, then they'll just up your, if you want this, you pay us a little extra.
I think that the big test is going to be that they bought the studio that made Oxenfree and After Party to make an original game for them. And if that original game... Because it also seems really weird because there are a bunch of Netflix games. There's a Peaky Blinders game. There's a Dark Crystal game. There's like all these games. So it seems strange that they would start with some of the Stranger Things games and then a bunch of kind of random stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a good point. They probably are getting the stuff together. I wish it was on my phone. I think that Netflix's streaming tech actually works a lot better than a lot of the other streaming game services that I've tried using. So like I'd be really interested in trying it mostly like in a browser on my computer, not necessarily on my phone.
Yeah.
To see if it can keep up, because if they've got the streaming infrastructure to make sure that it's like lightning fast, then I'm not against the idea of streaming video games as a thing. It's just the implementations have been bad recently.
Yeah.
So We'll see. Let's see. From there, speaking of streaming, let's go to Twitch. Apparently, if you're in Turkey, Twitch has been used as an incredibly large money laundering operation in Turkey.
Really?
Yeah. I had no idea. Apparently, this is going on. But apparently, there was a report that said that like $10 million was laundered, and the way it was laundered through Twitch. Okay, so apparently the scam was hackers steal a credit card. They cash that card into Twitch for as many bits as they can get. They tip those bits to a very low... like a plant that is streaming. They tip those bits like way more than a person getting like 40 people watching would ever get. And then that person at a later date transfers 80% of the tips back into a separate bank account, thereby laundering the money through Twitch back to the people that stole the cards in the first place.
That's so fucking smart. I mean, it's like...
apparently, $9.8 million was laundered through 24,000 Turkish streamers over the past 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's neat. I mean, that's like bad and don't do it, but like, that's kind of neat.
Apparently, though, the reason that this was brought to light was because there's a Turkish Twitch streamer called Grimnax that literally was approached by hackers in his Discord and then took a screenshot and fucking put that shit on Front Street on Twitter and was like, hackers are trying to get me into this money laundering scam. I mean, apparently the Turkish authorities had also been looking into it, and Twitch has also been trying to get around that because, of course, they are.
Yeah.
But I always find things like this. I always find schemes like this to be incredibly interesting. Of just like, why didn't anybody do that sooner? Like, why only now?
That's super interesting. Yeah, that.
Like
so innovative, always so innovative.
I wonder if you could do that through YouTube, right? With super chats. You could just.
Twitter just added tips.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I guess.
Do you guys want to launder money? Everyone in the comments.
YouTube has a tip jar, right?
Yeah.
I enable the tip jar. It's like, hey, Turkish hackers. No, I need more money for concertina oil and.
I gotta pay off this concertina, so.
I want my Japanese snack box back. You gotta give me. Come on. I don't ever stream on Twitch, so it would be really sus if I restarted my Twitch stream and it was just like cheered 5,000, cheered 5,000, cheered 5,000. Like, wow, thanks, Turkish.
That's
legit
amazing. You're making my day.
420. You're the best.
That's crazy.
So, let's see. But, you know, Twitch doesn't always do the bad things because Twitch has now created a new category of streams that is just animals, aquariums, and zoos. So apparently, everybody knows this, right? That like there are all these different streams where it's just like the otters at the San Diego aquarium, you know. And it used to be that stuff was all just kind of mixed into just chatting. But they've created a separate stream, a separate stream category that's just for the like watch the birds at the Chicago aviarium, whatever.
Yeah. It's most people use them for like background. I need something on and it's nice to like look over at something cute. I used to watch aquarium one.
Okay.
When I worked in an office, I would have just an aquarium up on the side so that because I'd have 2 monitors and I would just have anxiety attacks and look at all the fish.
I'm wondering if those fish, though, are laundering any Turkish credit card money.
You know, they all look pretty suspicious. They were, you know, like they had the look in their eye that I was like, they're laundering money right now.
Big fish eye looking back at you.
Yeah,
like,
and I was like,
I'm not doing shit.
Yeah,
I'm not doing shit.
They're looking back at me. I'm looking back at them.
Glub, I'm a fish.
Wink, and I'm like, what?
Apparently, though, there's a little sub-addendum to this where as soon as they put this up, Amaranth became the top streamer in the zoos and animals category. I don't know if you know who Amaranth is.
No.
Amaranth is a kind of notorious Twitch personality. She's this like big boob lady, and she's like, she was the one that started that popularized a lot of the like hot tub streams. Yeah. And apparently she was streaming. I don't really know. I didn't look into this all that much, but she was streaming from like a horse stable. And so she was technically like allowed in that stream. So like they created this category and she immediately went to number 1 in that stream category, and people were mad. People get really mad at Amaranth for streaming because she's just like got boobs, and all she does is like, she's basically a cam girl who goes right up to the line.
Yeah.
And then she gets banned a lot of times because she goes a little bit over the line. Like she's the one that created the, I think she was one of the first people after the hot tub streams started losing momentum to start the ear licking ASMR streams where it's like a microphone with a big plastic ear and then you just lick on it. And it's like, I can't think of anything more disgusting than that, to be honest.
Yeah,
like,
that sounds real fucking gross. But like, who cares?
I don't know. People on the internet care. I don't care. I don't.
It's just and not like, why is this an article? I mean, like, why? It's so weird that people get real like fucking up their own ass about this shit. Like, she's just, you don't like it? Go to the next fucking stream.
Don't click the button.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, whatever. She's not doing any. She's working within the rules for the most part. I mean, it sounds like she gets banned when she's not, but she works within the rules of what's being given. And you guys are mad because she had like a low cut top on while she was doing it.
I don't know, man.
Fucking cares.
I don't know, man.
What a weird amount of energy people spend on shit like this.
The only legitimate thing that the only legitimate argument that I could imagine is if you didn't know what you wanted to watch, but you wanted to watch just chatting, and then you went into just chatting, like let's say during the hot tub stream thing, and like the entire screen was just like the top 50 things were like hot tub streams. And then you had to scroll down. Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no.
I had to scroll.
Yeah.
I didn't even know what I wanted to watch, but I knew it wasn't that. Like, okay, cool.
Yeah. I don't know. Let's see. Shifting over to Oculus and Facebook, I mean Meta news. Apparently one of the things that was announced that I didn't go over last week was that that the Oculus Quest 2 is going to be updated so that you no longer have to have a Facebook account to log into it. So there was previously
you used to have to log into your Facebook account.
100%. Yep. The Oculus got bought by Facebook, and so you had to have a Facebook account. And like if Facebook went down, you couldn't do anything because
that is crazy.
That's what everybody
so
said.
Stupid.
Yep. But they just announced it hasn't happened yet. But basically, they're just going to add different login options. You're going to be able to create probably like an Oculus has accounts on their website.
Yeah.
And this is almost certainly because there are certain people who will not buy this because they do not want to have to have a Facebook account.
Yeah.
There are ways around it currently, but apparently they disable parts of the Oculus if you do that.
That's fucking nutty. That's such a weird bullshit thing.
The Zuck, man. The Zuck wants to watch you play Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah. Well, even if it's not used for any nefarious reason, it's still a weird speed bump to put into something you want to make money off of.
I mean, whenever I go on there, whenever I load up my Oculus, it brings you into this virtual room, and it's got kind of like a feed, and it's always like, here's your friends from Facebook that are on the Oculus, and here's what they are doing. And I'm just like, no, I don't want to.
Get that shit out of my face.
Play Sniper Elite. Play Resident Evil. Another Oculus update, though, is we had there's a good experimental feature that's turning into a real update where basically, okay, so when you have an Oculus Quest 2, you draw what they call the Guardian Zone. Like you put the controller on the ground to show where the ground is, and then you point the wand out, and it shows you through the camera, and you draw a safe space in your like room.
So you're not like bumping into walls
furniture,
and shit.
right?
Yeah.
So you don't have to have like a gymnasium to play in.
Yeah.
Well, apparently this new update is going to make it so that, like, if there is a piece of furniture that was accidentally moved in there, or if, like, let's say a small child walks into that, it's going to, like show an indication that there is something in your Guardian area.
Yeah.
So you don't accidentally punch your aunt's kid in the face, which, that's probably for the best. I don't know, some kids.
Maybe punch the kid in the face.
Well, hey, or either that, or you could...
I'm sorry, is an adult person swinging their arms wildly?
Yeah.
We're going to learn a lesson today, aren't we? Don't walk into front of people swinging their fucking arms wildly.
Or, I guess, another way is that you could say that this option will now allow you to hit that kid in the face with pinpoint accuracy because you can see exactly where they are.
You're like, watch out, there's a kid. You're like, oh, I know. For me, it's like, this is just to ensure that I don't like step on my dog.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
But that I do punch that kid in the face.
So yeah, it's in the new experimental features that you can turn on right now. Yeah, I don't know what it's like to live in a house where somebody could come walking into your VR. I don't play VR unless all the doors are locked.
Yeah.
Otherwise I'm just going to get
just
murdered.
Me and the spooky ghosts.
Yeah. Let's see. And I already cut that story. So let's move on to some trailers. We got a trailer, as mentioned before, for Battlefield 2042, the Portal gameplay trailer. This is such a weird mode. I don't know how much you know about this mode or know what it is.
No.
But basically, Portal is like this thing where they have the assets and maps and like technology from Battlefield 1942, Battlefield Bad Company 2, Battlefield 3, and Battlefield 2042, and you can mix and match.
Yeah.
So you can have like one modern tank versus a bunch of World War II guys with machine guns.
It's very chaotic.
Yes.
It was hard to like watch.
Yeah.
It looks cool. Like, I think it looks neat, but it was a lot going on at once, and I was just like, what am I having a stroke? All time happens now. Time is both linear and non-linear. Like, it's all simultaneously happening.
I'm wondering, because there was like one of the modes that they showed was like a single tank, and then like everybody else on the server was playing as like little bomb defusal droids trying to take down the tank. Or like there was one that was like a spec ops group of 4 people with modern weaponry, and everybody else plays World War II Nazi guys. So like modern tech versus old tech. I feel like this is really for people who are very, very plugged into Battlefield, because otherwise it's like, we say it's got Battlefield 3 and Battlefield Bad Company 2, and I'm like, I literally don't know the difference between what was in either of those.
I guess.
So,
but it's a cool idea. I mean, there's no reason not to, right? Like, just it's a fun thing.
Yeah.
But simultaneously, God, does it look fucking nuts. Like, I watched it and I'm like, that feels wrong. Why does that feel wrong? And then it dawned on me and I was just like, this is weird.
It also, in all these trailers for this mode, it feels like all 64 players in the server are in like a 1-block radius fighting each other.
They do definitely go very like everyone's all together.
Yeah.
Which, if this is how it is to play, I would just anxiety all day, every day.
Well, if you're not going to play this, you got to play something online. Right? How about Nerf Legends?
No joke. Nerf Legends looks fun as fuck. That shit looks kind of delightful. I mean, it looks like Fortnite.
Yeah, it's like,
but it looks fun.
It looks like, well, to be honest, this trailer that I sent you after I pulled it up, because I always lay everything out and then I go back and actually look through them. And so this trailer was like, is this just an ad for a bunch of Nerf guns?
Yeah.
Because it was going over the weapons, but then it was laying them out as just like, this multi-chambered rifle can fire 30 darts in a second. And it was like, okay. I just remember when I was a kid, well, yeah, not to be the old man. I mean, I am, but like not to be the old man. But like when I was a kid, Nerf, it was like those footballs with the grooves in the side of them, and then those the 3-pronged boomerang, and like that was it.
Yeah,
we I didn't think we had anything that shot balls. When I was a kid, it was that horrible plastic thing that shot the wiffle balls.
Yeah,
or that one that was like, it looked like a gun, but it shot those little discs. Like you get that pack of all those little discs.
Yes, they still sell those.
And then
we go through the toy section at Target, and they have all the like fucking ammunitions all set up for them. It's very funny to see. Like, do you need the discs? Do you need the little tiny golf ball looking guys? Do you need the darts? Do you need the darts with the suction cup? Do you need the darts with the like round tip? It's like,
there's an ammo section in the toy aisle.
Yeah, there is. Yeah.
But yeah, this looks like they're creating some kind of like, I don't know, Fortnite, Overwatch.
It's almost like they didn't like video games used to always need, or not video games, but like any toys needed a story behind it.
Yeah.
You know, it was never just like, this is a soldier. It was, this is G.I. Joe. And we're going to create a whole world. And then they created a cartoon to go with it. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And I feel like Nerf is the same thing right now. Is just like, we need some kind of lore to go with our Nerf guns.
It's just so weird because this is coming out this month. It's like this multiplayer online shooter game.
Oh, I thought this was, well, I guess that makes sense. Like for the holidays, Nerf loves a good Christmas bundle. Get your kid a gun and a game.
It also looks like there's some kind of like, it looks like there's some kind of single player mode with all these robots and stuff. Like it's not just a multiplayer shooter. So I don't know. It's fine though. It's just kind of crazy that
it looks cute. Like it looks fun enough. Like if I had a unknowing grandma that was like, I got you that shooty up game, I'd be like, this is fun enough.
I guess the thing is, do kids still get the Nerf guns, or are these mostly just for like dudes at a game studio to shoot at each other's desks when they need their people's attention or whatever?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I do know the last time I worked in an office, it was a big deal to have Nerf guns.
Yeah.
Because everyone would just, if you're having a bad day, everyone would start shooting each other. But then I shot somebody in the ear hole and they got real mad. And I wasn't allowed to have one anymore.
This is the saddest story I've ever heard.
I know. They're like, everyone's having a good time. And I was like, fucking pinpoint aim.
There is absolutely nothing worse than when everybody's having a good time and you're horsing around and you are the one to hurt somebody.
Yeah, you ruin the good time.
As a big, doofy, like clumsy guy, I feel like that's happened to me a lot, where it's just like, we're all horsing around in the pool having a good time. And then it's like, I pushed this guy and he cracked his head up against the side of the pool. And I'm just like, God damn it, Jeff.
Wow.
And I'm
Jeez,
just like,
we were trying to have fun.
Trying to have fun with everybody else.
I hate that. This is the worst feeling in the world. Besides being the kid who head got cracked.
Well, yes, that was obviously the worst. That was the worst one. I didn't send you this trailer, Amanda, but I wanted to point out that we got an announcement trailer for Dawn of the Monsters, which was worked on by our buddy Matt Frank.
Never heard of him.
And it's kind of interesting because there's like this little animated intro, and it's like I feel like I could feel Matt Frank's hands all over this thing.
That's gross.
Like this,
Matt, stop touching all this stuff.
Yeah, the fingerprints, Matt. Come on.
No, but yeah, it's definitely got a Matt vibe to it.
Yeah, like the character designs are. I think that Matt did the character designs, and it's definitely some kind of like just beat 'em up 3D monster mash.
Yeah, it's cool. Looks neat.
Looks great. Looks great. And that's actually, I believe that's coming out next year. Yeah, early 2022, and that's going to be Switch and Steam and PS4. Everything. It's gonna be on everything.
Oh yeah, is that his poster?
Probably.
Looks cool.
Probably. It looks like he might have toned it down a little bit though for this poster.
Yeah, it matches the feel of the game a little bit more because I know he does. He's really into the details of his
every individual scale,
his monsters. Yeah, which is fantastic. Oh my god, I just consistently buying his prints and stuff.
Yeah,
but yeah.
Let's see. From there, we got a trailer for Dubium. Which this is a really strange trailer.
It is a very strange trailer.
It's like this lady and it's like this guy and they're doing
they're like partnered up.
Yeah, and then like this other guy comes in to kill everybody. I don't know. I actually had to look into this, but Amanda, I'd be curious to know what you thought. What kind of game do you think this is when you look at this?
I don't know. It almost, to me, when I watched it, I was like, is this like Fortnite trying to do Among Us?
It is, yes, is the answer. It is an Among Us. It's going to be like
it's just the art style is very cartoony, but the violence is very weird. Like straight up like ganks this dude.
It's weird because the character designs are very cartoony, but the lighting and everything else is very detailed.
This could be Alien. This could be like anything. Yeah, but it's oddly violent and bloody.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just kind of, I don't know. It's cartoony. So like the tone is weird to me because of it.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean it's bad in any way. But yeah, it seems like it's like an Among Us where they have to work together to do some goals, but simultaneously it looks like you want to be the last one to win, or whoever the imposter is can change on a dime or something.
I think that what I saw from it was that there's like 5 people trying to do stuff in like a spaceship or some kind of space thing.
Yeah,
and then one person is always like an imposter, and so it's another one. I feel like we're hitting the point where we're going to see a bunch of those trying to. I mean, Fortnite already put a mode in that did that. There was that PlayStation game where you're on like a space station that came out this week on Plus, and this one. So I feel like we're right in the middle of kind of seeing those types of games start to crop up.
Because Among Us is very popular and nobody ever trusts their friends anyway.
Right. Exactly. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Let's see. We also got, speaking of horrifying terror, we got because the new Dark Pictures came out, that means it always ends with the trailer for the next one.
Yeah.
So we got the trailer for what is the end of season 1 when it comes to Dark Pictures anthology, The Devil in Me. And apparently this last one is Saw. We're doing Saw for the last one.
Oh, it was I thought this was, I mean, it doesn't tell you much of anything. But I thought it was a great trailer. I love the silhouette and what the silhouette is.
Yeah, that's a corpse all rigged up with robotics and stuff.
Oh, I love it. It's so creepy.
Yeah.
Like if this were done in a movie, what a great fucking what if this was the start of a movie?
Yeah.
Of just like a silhouette of this person telling a story, and then you get to the other side and it's an animatronic corpse.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's awesome.
It also, I think that I like the idea of this because the kind of Saw format, it means it's a little bit more compacted.
Yeah.
And I think that I haven't played. I've been waiting for Matt to free up his schedule to try to play the one that came out this year.
Yeah.
But Little Hope, there was a lot of wandering around this town. It was real open, and I felt like a lot of time was wasted just kind of walking from place to place.
Yeah, I wasn't in love with Little Hope.
Did you guys play House of Ashes?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of hoping that the season is going to end with an actual supernatural or monster, a real thing, as opposed to the first two were very you thought it was a monster, but it was very Scooby-Doo. Like it wasn't a ghost; it was a trick of a light and shit. And I haven't played the last one, so I don't know if the last one was no, you know what, straight up. Monster.
The last one had a collector's edition thing that came with a statue of the actual monster that they've shown off a lot of times.
Right, but they've had ghosts and witches in the other ones. They have made them, but they were not what it was. So is this what this is, or is it something else? This looks and feels like it's gonna be an actual monster story, but it might not be. It might be something else.
I guess
we're the whole thing's gonna end, and it's man, that was an intense escape room. Am I right, buddies? Let's go get some in and out. You know what I mean?
There's I feel like there's only so many times that you could pull that fake out at the end before people are just going to revolt against your company.
That's
no more. You're not getting me again.
Yeah, M. Night got 3 movies before people were like, all right, we got it. You're gonna do a bunch of fucking twists.
And then last but not least, we got a big old trailer for not a video game, but a board game. The Skyrim adventure game.
That's exciting.
Yeah, Skyrim is now out in another way. It's already everywhere else, but now you can play it as a board game. This is definitely for this is not a casual thing. This is for board game enthusiasts.
Hardcore tabletop gamers.
Yeah, because
this kind of game is very fun when you get into it.
Yeah.
I have no interest in this, but I can definitely see people being game night, we're fucking playing Skyrim.
Well, there's it's what they say, there's 400 cards, and the amount of little chits and chips and things that you move along this character progression.
Yeah.
Apparently there's a whole thing they were talking about in the article that was related to this that was your actions have consequences. So if you kill the Jarl of Whiterun, you take that card out of the deck, and then when you shuffle it up next time, there's contingencies for how the game will play now that card is not in the deck. So you could literally carry through. Apparently you can play in short sessions, but then there's 2 campaigns where you have to play 3 times.
Okay, yeah. There's a couple of I can't think of a specific board game that does it. Because I'm 2 years out of playing board games right now because of the pandemic, but where
also easy access to board games at Rogue's Gallery.
Yeah, and also because I had easy access but there were a few games that had literally the game Pandemic had a season game, and then there was one-shot games.
Yeah,
so you can play for what was supposed to take essentially a year to play, because you would meet monthly, and then well, technically it's just 12 mini campaigns. This is your goal for these, and then you can do them however you want. So if you were we're gonna meet every other day and just beat this shit in a couple of days, or power through them if you played them really fast. But really what it's supposed to be is an entire year of gameplay, so you can meet monthly, and then there's the standard game with the regular board that you just play.
Okay.
And you can play one shot. This is the goal.
Okay, that makes sense. Apparently, this thing is going to be $112. Or
really?
Well, on GameFound, it says that $137 for the final retail version.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, because like with that amount of plastic pieces and stuff, some of those board games go way expensive.
Yeah, I've actually been somewhat interested in some of the games, but I knew that if I ever bought one, that I would probably play it one time and then never. I'm not into the whole board game night thing. Like, it just doesn't appeal to me.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is that you have to do a board game night if you want to get into it, because I don't think board games are worth it unless you're willing to play them multiple times. And then you got to be the kind of person that builds a library,
right?
So that if people are like, it's board game night, let's all come hang out.
I hate that shit. I'm more into the like, let's play Carcassonne every Friday, because when you have a different game every week, it's like the first hour and a half is always explaining all the rules, and then it's just like,
God, heaven forbid you have one or two people who played it before, and then everyone else doesn't know, and then it's just
and
like
then they win every time.
Yeah, and or it's the the hour and a half of every. Don't read the rules. I'll just shout them at you.
Right. No, we'll pick it up as you go.
So usually when that happens, I will exclusively play short games that you can play multiples of very quickly, so that you can have like a throwaway round where it's just like, I don't know, here, let's do this, and okay, can I do that? Yes, like they kind of guide you along. That's fine. If it's a short game, if it's like takes 5-10 minutes to play, and then the next round I know what I'm doing enough that I can hold my own.
Sure.
Then that's fine. But when it's like, this is going to take an hour and you don't know what you're doing, I can't do it. I don't fucking want to.
There was a point in my life for like 2 months where my friends and I used to get together to play board games. And it was me and then 4 of my friends that were 2 couples. And one of those couples was the one that always brought the latest game, and they always won because they'd always played it between the 2 of them beforehand.
Yeah.
And the other couple always teamed up together. And so I always lost. And after a month and a half of this, I was like, I'm going to the bar.
Yeah.
And they were like, what? No, you got to come over and play. And I'm like, why? I lose every time. And like, I mean, I don't like losing. Like, I know that, I know that I'm a bad loser, but like, it's just, if you never win,
and it's the whole point of a board game night is to like have fun, like playing these games. But like, if these games are all supposed to be like individuals against each other, but they're couples, so they're going to look out for each other.
Yep.
Then you're not even playing the games right.
Nope.
So like
2 of them.
This is why I actively try to get John out of every game I play, where I will single-handedly just try to destroy his gameplay experience because it's funny.
And he's not allowed to be mad at me.
Yeah. And he loves me too much to be mad.
Okay, so we've got a few game delays. That Marvel's Midnight Suns game that Firaxis is making has been delayed from March of 2022 to the back half of 2022, which is I'm conflicted. Well, I keep going back to that audiobook that I'm listening to where it's like nothing in that book. It's really reinforcing the idea that it's like, do they need 6 more months? Take 6 more months, because chances are if you need 6 more months, you had to pry those 6 months out of the publisher's cold, dead hands.
Chances are if you needed 6 more months, you actually needed like 10 more months.
Right. So, yeah, it's a shame because I really want to play this game. I like the idea of having an Eldritch turn-based, card-based Marvel game. But I'm willing to wait.
Yeah. Whatever. I'll wait. It's nice to get a good game when you get a good game. Yep. Right? So.
Let's see. Cyberpunk 2077 has pushed all additional updates to 2022.
Yeah.
We already had all of the next gen versions already got pushed to 2022 a few months back. That was after they were supposed to come at the end of 2020. And then let us all not forget their roadmap that showed patches and hot fixes, and then like the second half, there's supposed to be a bunch of updates, but now it's all been chunked over to 2022. I'm still waiting.
Yeah,
I'm still waiting for Cyberpunk 2077 to be worth playing. So we'll see. Maybe in 2024 it'll be worth playing. Who knows?
Maybe in 2077.
Let's see. Resident Evil Village is apparently getting some free DLC This was thanks to earnings calls. Capcom said that they're going to be trying to keep people engaged by putting out some free DLC. No indication what that is going to be.
Okay.
But they did do that crappy announcement at E3 where they were like, paid DLC is coming. What is it? Capcom seems really confused by the fact that Village was a big hit.
Yeah. They were like, throwaway game, and everyone's like, we love it. And they're like, what?
I mean, like, all they had to do was go to Twitter before it came out and look up Lady Dimitrescu. Like, y'all...
Well, okay, so in fairness, though, sometimes things will be like, this character is the character, and memes, and blah, 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 and then it's like, mild success.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. It's also, though, there hasn't been a bad Resident Evil for a while. Actually, the other thing to remember, I keep forgetting about this, and this is my job. There was supposed to be a multiplayer mode.
Oh.
The RE-verse that Michael and I played the beta of that was fucking terrible.
Yeah.
It was
Maybe
so
that's
bad.
why you haven't played it again?
My God, if they are making that team make that instead of more story content, they're ludicrous and stupid. But Capcom is ludicrous and stupid. That sounds like the exact sort of thing that Capcom would do.
They sort of live in that zone of ludicrous.
Tell me about Pragmata. Come on. There was that PS5 trailer where there was like a little girl and a robot cat and like a spaceman.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
That was a Capcom game. Fuck, 2019.
I remember that trailer.
Or 2020.
Yeah.
Yep. Nothing.
Weird.
Nothing.
Weird. Forgot about it.
Yep.
Mainly because I just let go of...
if it's not right in front of you.
How many times have you been burned on the E3 announcement trailer? You'll never see it again after this announcement. I don't like, wow, that's really cool. I'm really excited for it. I'm dropping it. Let it go. It's like until it comes out, until you get the trailer that gives you the date that it's coming out, don't bother getting excited for it.
My policy is not to get excited about a game until the 2 weeks before it comes out.
Yeah.
That saves me a lot of heartache of being like, but what about the thing? So, however, there's also a weird rumor that came out this week that Red Dead Redemption might be getting a remaster. Original Red Dead Redemption. This is from, apparently the source is Chris from Rockstar Mag. Who apparently has a good track record for these sorts of things.
Okay. I mean, it also kind of makes sense. It's not like they don't want that sweet Red Dead money.
Yes. Well, so it's interesting because a lot of the things that were in those videos that they put out we're basically saying Grand Theft Auto 6 was supposed to be announced last year, but Dan Houser left the company, and so they've been having problems retooling, without the person who made like Red Dead Redemption 2 and Grand Theft Auto 5 and Grand Theft Auto 4 and Grand Theft Auto 3. So
that kind of makes sense.
Apparently there's a possibility that we might be seeing something similar to the Grand Theft Auto trilogy remastered.
Is that the one we talked about with the
funky faces?
Yeah.
Yes.
Where they kind of look stylized, like it was a style choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think Red Dead has a little bit I think by the time they got to Red Dead, the tech was a little bit more regular faces.
Yeah.
But given how much polish they put on that original trilogy, I'm not going to say no if you guys decide you want to put out a really nice looking version of the original Red Dead.
Yeah.
I'm sure Jason Murphy will buy it.
Yeah.
So there's two. You got two.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. That's all you need, right?
Basically pays for itself.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, there's plenty of people that would love to, that I know that replay that game and would love to replay it on a modern console.
If they put it on the PC, it would be the first time that Red Dead Redemption had ever been on the PC, which would open it up to mods, which would open it up to you could put out a half-finished version of this game, and the modding community around Grand Theft Auto would fix it.
We'll fix it. Don't even worry about it. Yeah.
Yep.
Which is fantastic. The modding community is great. Sometimes, most of the time. Sometimes, modding community is interesting.
I liked it when they made the Mom Jeans mod for Lady Dimitrescu in Resident Evil Village. I also liked the Baby Chris and Chris Baby Did you see those?
No.
So at the beginning of Resident Evil Village, there's like this really realistically modeled baby that Ethan is holding. And then later on, Chris Redfield busts down the door and shoots your wife in the face and takes your baby. So the first thing I have to look this up now because you have to see this in real time.
It sounds like I have to see this.
Village. So they took Chris Redfield's head,
and put it on the baby.
And they put it on the baby. So the baby still has all of the. Okay, there's baby Chris.
No.
Here's Chris baby is.
So they like swapped the faces. Is that what I'm saying?
Well, they started by putting Chris's head on the baby because the baby's real fussy and it's got these little like baby facial expressions, and so it's just a Chris Redfield grizzled Chris Redfield face like cooing and crying and like been going. Like with the baby head.
Jesus Christ.
Come on, Purdue University.
Yeah.
Like a fucking 40-minute.
Yeah, the YouTube was like, nuh-uh.
And then when they got done doing that, they took the baby's head and put it on Chris Redfield.
Oh, no, I do not. I do not like this at all.
Let's see if I can find a fussy Chris. It's better with the noise because fussy Chris baby is making a lot of little noises
baby
and stuff.
noises.
Let's see if I can find some of the parts where he's like moving around and stuff.
Oh my God, he's like, oh, I don't like it. Oh, this is weird. Why?
He's like a sleepy little Chris baby.
Was like, this is what I need to do. This is my hell. This is hell.
I feel like it's when you're a modder, like the first thing you do is you're like, what if I substituted the line of code that said baby head for the line of code that said Chris Redfield head?
No, this is the worst day of my life.
And then from there, somebody went in and
they're like, bet.
and we had the part where Chris busts in on you to take your baby away, and they put the giant baby head on top of Chris Redfield, shooting your wife. And
oh my God.
This is
this Boss Baby?
This is the new Boss Baby. It's pretty crazy.
No! This is the worst. We've gotten so far away from God's light.
We spent so long asking if we could. We never asked if we should.
What the fuck?
Anyway, yeah.
You ruined my day. Great job, Jeff.
So in other news... Bright Memory Infinite got a PC release date. I'm a really big fan of Bright Memory. It's like this crazy ass Lara Croft meets Dark Souls shooter game that was made by like one guy.
Okay.
But it was made in the Unreal Engine, so it looks really, really good for being made by one guy. Or I think it might be more than that now. But anyway, it was supposed to be out in 2022. It is going to be out in the PC version is coming out on November 11th, and if you have the original Bright Memory, you'll be getting an upgrade to Infinite. It's also supposed to be on Xbox at some point. It was part of their like the stuff that they showed when they were originally announcing it. So
okay,
keep an eye out. Everybody should check out Bright Memory. It's kind of cool. It's
Do it, you crazy.
It reminds me a lot of Shadow Warrior, where there's like a lot of weird. It's like shooting, but then also like time powers, but then also like a bunch of mythical creatures that you have to shoot with a gun, like chimeras show up. It's kind of Tomb Raider-y as well.
Nice. That's kind of neat.
Big grab bag of stuff.
Yeah.
All right, Amanda.
Yes.
You've waited long enough.
I have.
This one's just for you.
Oh, the Chris Baby one wasn't just for me?
No. So Lego...
Yeah! Sorry, I read the headline before you said it. Go ahead.
Lego Mario came out a while back with a Luigi, so you can now get the Lego Luigi.
Yeah.
And they have now announced 4 Luigi packs for the Lego Mario set, and they're all Luigi's Mansion themed.
Yeah!
So the first one comes with the... there's 3 sets. The first one comes with the Dr. what's his face? Egad, and then the little backpack.
Yeah.
And then there's one, and there's like each one of them also has a little ghost to beat because they're literal games. The second one is the entrance into the mansion, and it has another little guy.
Oh my God.
They gotta
these
beat.
are so cute.
And then the third pack is the actual inside of the mansion that can be rearranged into different configurations.
Nice.
Now, apparently these are like... what? It's like the opening one is like not super expensive, but of course
the other ones are big. Yeah, that mansion I'm sure is pretty pricey.
Poltergust is $30, $40 for the entryway expansion, and $80 for the inside.
Yeah.
So, what is that? $150 for all three of them?
That's fine.
That's not the worst.
Just throw some $150.
You also though have to buy a Luigi. Like you have to buy one of the starter packs to go along with that because it doesn't come with a Luigi. So, but
it should come with a Luigi with a different outfit.
I don't know.
Because he looks a little... All right, that's fine. It's fine. I'm not going to start an argument about Luigi stuff. I'll just buy the Luigi stuff.
Yeah. So I figured, if there's anybody in this world who could
100%.
appreciate...
Oh, I'm hyped. I've been thinking about getting the Luigi just to have a little Lego Luigi figure, but I'm...
they've got the little LED faces, right? To blink their eyes and they talk and say stuff.
Just want to hang out with him.
You just want to hang out with Mario, Luigi, or Lego
Mario.
Luigi.
Luigi.
And last but not least, the Bloodborne PS1 demake has been they've been showing this off on Twitter for a while. Mm-hmm. This thing actually got a trailer with a release date. So this is
now, is this a fan thing?
Yes.
Okay, because I was talking to John about it, and he's like, if it doesn't get taken down, if they don't get mad about it happening, and I was like, oh, I thought it was just some quirky fun thing they were doing.
Yeah, it's only the first level. So it's not even it's not the whole game. It's just the first area. And From Software isn't quite they're not super.
They're not Nintendo.
They're not Nintendo. So there's a good possibility that this remains up. It's a good possibility also that From Software just doesn't know that this exists and doesn't care because they're a Japanese company.
I really, really was I could see this being a hit. Thing.
Well, I think that this is this is the sort of thing that you make as this is your resume now.
Yeah.
For going to work other places. You're like, look, I'm the one who made this. Because it looks like a pretty faithful recreation.
Yeah. It did really well. The trailer reminds me of old PlayStation 1 trailers.
Yeah.
PlayStation 2 games trailers.
It's in 4:3 and I'm not the biggest fan in the world of they put the scan lines over it to make it look older because I've seen it without that. But yeah, it looks pretty good. Some of this probably wasn't possible on the original PlayStation, but
yeah, of course. But it's cool to see done this way.
It's interesting to think of the idea of that we're coming into the PSX retro era because I feel like there have been a few tries at that, but the idea that bad looking chunky graphics could be the thing of I remember when I was a kid and that was all we had.
It's a style.
Yeah, it's a style at the time. It's coming out the end of January 31st, 2022. Right in time for the big February deluge.
Nice.
And that's it. That's the podcast.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Got all the way to the end. What's that?
We made it?
We did.
Wow.
We're done. We finally finished. There's no more podcasts.
None. Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to say never. I wouldn't say there's
never. You never say never.
Who knows?
What I always say.
Who knows what happens next week?